Okay, before we bring in our guest and get to our individual version of buy or sell, we want to thank another sponsor for today, and that is Thirdy, the PM Recovery Collagen drink powder that is an absolute game changer when it comes to improving your recovery and your sleep. It has other ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, GABA. Those help calm your central nervous system and support deep and REM sleep because, look, we all know high quality rest is vital to performance, just as vital as consistent workouts and nutrition. So if you're looking to improve that area of your fitness, Thirdy absolutely has you covered. This stuff has been an absolute godsend for me. I don't get enough sleep, but the sleep I do get is of much higher quality because of Thirdy, and it has allowed me to become a regular at the 5 a.m. CrossFit class at NC Fit, which if like just 6 months ago, if you told me that I was going to be working out on a consistent basis at 5 a.m., I would have said, you are crazy. And that would require probably an act of Congress to make that happen. So if you're interested in getting on the Thirdy train, you can scan the QR code right down there, or you can go to thirdy.com and use the code TEF and you will save 20%. You can also get some of those nice little travel packets that come in super handy. And what you do with that is you get your travel package, and then whatever that travel bag is that you have, that you always use, just put them in there and just don't take them out because you never want to forget that stuff. I've been on the road. I have forgotten my Thirdy, and it is akin to a national crisis. So
it saved me in Canada earlier this week.
Yeah, that stuff is great. So Thirdy.com, use the code TEF, and you will save 20%. Okay, let's get into our buy or sell for the individuals. And to help us do that, we have the former two-time fittest woman on earth, Katrin Davidsdottir. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. We were talking a little bit before
Awesome.
we came on here. Everyone knows about, you're not competing this year because of your back. How's that feeling right now?
It's doing really good. I had no idea what to expect. It's 8 weeks today since my surgery. And this morning, so I was just telling you guys, like, I've been taking class again. I've been like trying to just work on, I know I can't like train yet. I'm not like training for performance, but I want to like exercise for health. And also just to like, it's exhausting to always be like, what can I do today? And I can fall into the trap of like just doing the same things again and again when I'm so limited. So I've been trying to take class, and if there's something that I need to like substitute or lower the weight, like I'll do that. And that's been so fun. So we're in Utah for the week, and I went to Park City Fit, and so saw Chris Feeler this morning. I feel like I haven't seen him for like 8 years.
That's
so
great.
He wasn't coaching the class, so he took class with me, and it was really fun.
Oh, that's so fun.
So all around really good. And I'm just so thankful for it because it's my back. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know what can go wrong. And I had no expectations of what to expect, but 8 weeks now. And I feel like I'm my back, I've had to like recover from surgical things and like my ab muscles and like my glutes felt super strange for so long, but my back has been pain-free, and that I'm like, I couldn't even have imagined that like a couple months ago.
That's fantastic. Good for you.
I'm glad it went well.
So are we competing next year?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Ooh, all right.
This morning, it's so hard for me to even think about it because like this morning, I did like fortitude. It's like my go-to, like just to end out like my session. And it's like 20 minutes. And I did 12 calorie row, 12 burpees. And I used to do 15 for warm up. So it's like, if I even,
Wow, that's crazy.
like I'm like so far away, and at the same time I haven't been able to put intensity into anything. It was my second time rowing. Like my first time rowing was so slow. I was just happy to be actually rowing. And like when I first started doing burpees, I couldn't like bend my back, and my hamstrings are so short. Like I need to get my mobility back, so I wasn't able to do my normal burpees. And so like it goes two ways. Like part of me is like, oh my God, like I used to do 15 for warm up, and now I'm doing 12. But I also want to be like, I'm doing 12.
Yeah, you got
You're doing great.
Thank you.
victories, Katrin. Come on. All right. Well, we'll jump into what we're going to do. And thank you so much for being here. And we did this with the teams with Andrea Nistler. So we've had two champions.
It was fun.
I'm so excited about this.
Now we have an individual champion. And we're going to just throw out some statements, and we're going to say, do we buy it? Do we think it's going to happen? Or are we selling that? There's no way this happens.
Like,
so we'll just go around the horn. I'll throw it out there, and then we'll just kind of start. Like someone will start, and then we'll just go around, and we'll see what's who says what, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome.
Okay? So here's the first one. First one is, and this is for either the men or the women. This is either division. Buy or sell a rookie will finish inside the top 10, and we'll start with Tommy.
I'm gonna sell.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be one of the
I love
first
Kevin's
times.
reaction.
I think this is gonna be one of the first times since probably like around 2009, really, where we haven't seen a rookie break the top 10. I think you look in more modern history. Last year it was Yellow Hosta, and he barely got it at 10. And then the 2 previous years, the flag bearers for the stat were what I think were mold breakers, right? It was Emma Lawson and Mal O'Brien, who like changed kind of the landscape of the teenage to adult division transition. And we haven't really seen that since. And I think with the prevalence of some of the veterans this year on the men's side, particularly at the top, and then the return of veterans like Haley under the women's side, I think there's going to be a logjam inside of the top 10 that's going to be harder for some of these rookies to break.
Okay. Lauren, buying or selling?
I am also selling it. For the men, I don't have any rookie finishing higher than 20th. When I
Wow.
looked at the leaderboard and made, I don't want to call it a full rankings, but it was like a rough draft of my rankings. And for the women, I do have them finishing a bit higher for the rookies. I had the highest finishing 16th. But as Tommy alluded, when you look at these fields and how stacked they are, specifically for the men, I mean, we talk about it and we'll talk about it more later. You can interchange 7 to 8 athletes from 1 through 8. And the women, it's kind of similar when you look at 3 through 10.
Yeah.
So when you want to knock on the door as a rookie, it's going to be, I think, the hardest this year. So I'm going to sell.
Okay. Katrin, buying or selling?
I disagree. I'm buying.
All right.
100%. I just think so. There's always somebody. Just look throughout the years. There's somebody that you don't know. There's so many rookies on the female side. Like, how many people have been in the games before? Like, did you see that black and white graph that they had, like, those who are not competing versus those who are competing? And then it's honestly, okay, it's 2 things. And that's why for a lot of rookies, and this was me, it was really uncomfortable to start competing. I felt so out of place. There's all of these women that I've been watching on YouTube that you've been looking up to, and you just kind of like don't know, you don't have the confidence to fully like compete super well and be aggressive and go for it. And then there's rookies that actually, I think it helps that you don't have any pressure on you. Nobody is expecting anything from you. And maybe they've had some experience with other sports before, and they just you take a Mal or Emma or a Laura or a Tia or a Matt Fraser, like somebody, there's a lot of new athletes coming through, and I would put a lot of money that on the male or female, probably more likely on the female, that there's going to be somebody in the top 10.
Okay.
Ooh, Katrin's good at this game.
Yeah,
It has swayed me. I'm buying this as well.
Woo!
I think a rookie will finish inside the top 10 because here's the
100%.
thing. Every year, I think I have this thing figured out where I'm like, okay, this is what it's going to look like, and these in the top 5. Every year, I go, well, I may as well just throw in a dart with the standings because
Exactly.
I don't know. And there's got to be somebody who's got a chance to get in here.
Out of 20 spots, 10 on men, 10 on women, there
Just
has
need
to be one.
You just need
Someone's
one.
there.
I will say this. I don't know if there was a rookie this year that had the same semifinal level performance that like Yella did, where he was winning events, that gave me confidence to think that they might win an event in the games. And part of that is
Victor
like
Hoffer won an event.
Huh?
Victor Hoffer won an event.
Who
He did.
hasn't met people
That's
before.
actually true. I will take that back. His gymnastics skill alone could be it, but I think the other variable, and this could go either way, so it could support Katrin and Sean's point, is nobody knows what's going to happen with the flow, the setup, and everything in this new venue, right? It's like everybody's relearning like the connective tissue behind the scenes. I think that benefits veterans. I think if I'm like Katrin Davidsdottir walking out there, it doesn't really matter. I have my process, I've got it locked down. But then again, there's always one, so who knows?
All right, let's go to the next one. So this one dates back to 2014. So in 2014, we had we had 6 lead changes for the men among 5 different athletes, and that's the most we've ever had. So we're going to buy or sell this. We will have more than 6 lead changes between 5 different men in 2024. Lauren, we'll start with you.
Short and sweet. We're going to have more. This is the deepest field that we've ever seen for the men's field at the CrossFit Games. And I think, what did we have? We had 6 lead changes, did you say? With 5 different names?
Yes,
I think that we're going to have 6 different names.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's going to happen. This is the
Okay.
year.
All right. Lauren is buying that. Katrin, you can go next.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree again. I am selling. Yeah.
Okay.
So I do think it's going to be a really good competition, and I do think there will be lead changes. I just don't think it's going to be with more than 6 men. I think it's going to be with under 6 men. I think it might be. I think Adler's looking phenomenal. Krennikov, like Pat, always finds his way somewhere in the mix. He's not going to start at the top again. He has a
I
run.
don't think he's ever worn the leader's jersey.
But I don't think it's going to be 6 men that are rotating the lead. So I am going to sell that one.
Selling that. Tommy, what say you?
Ooh, I am actually going to buy this one. I think I look at right now, just off the top of my head, Adler, Dallin, Justin, Roman, Ricky, Brent, Pat. All of those guys, if you told me at the end of the day they caught fire and won, I would be like, sure. I also look at all of those guys, and I think that at any given moment, one of them could win an event at the CrossFit Games. And so then I zoom out a little bit, and I look, all right, this first event we know is going to be a run swim. And there are guys like Lazar Jukic in there with the absence of Yona that I think, like, we always see someone kind of come out and win one of the early events and wear the white leader's jersey after event 1. That's a little bit different, right? I think that just adds another potential leadership change in there. So yeah, I think we're going to have like ultimately 8 or 9 guys just in a Yahtzee shaker. And every time we're gonna roll it out, and it's gonna be a different combination. And here's another one. And then by the weekend, it should stabilize a little bit more. But I think the first 2 days might just be chaos.
You know what? You might have persuaded me. Actually, now that I'm like thinking about it, like the run swim, I'm like, no. I'm like, James Spray could go win that one. Like,
Yeah,
Brent
he
could go
could.
win that
He
one. I'm
could.
like, I don't know. Whatever. We got
That first event is a total outlier because, you know, usually I think it's only happened in one time in history where the person who won the first event has wound up winning the games, at least on the men's side, and that was Matt Fraser in 2016.
Yep, Ranch Trail Run.
Wait, it's also been Tia though.
Yeah,
Tia,
but for the man, I don't think a man is ever. I don't think the guy who. That's the only time I think in history it's ever happened that the guy who won that whatever swim event is that went on to win the games. I think, and that wasn't even a swim event. It was the Ranch Trail Run. That was the first. That was the first event. Okay, so it's to me. I'm going to buy this as well. I think this is the year that it's just like for all the reasons Tommy mentioned. That first event is. That person probably will not hold on to the leader's jersey much more than 2 events. And then it's just going to be an absolute free-for-all between Adler, Krennikov, Pepper, Medeiros. I don't think people should be overlooking him. I don't know if Pat Vellner is going to be able to wear the leader's jersey. I don't think he ever has.
I don't think he has either.
I could be wrong about that, but maybe this is the year. I think Brent Fikowski is a factor there. So, yeah, I think that this is the year that Ricky Garrard, that's another one. Depending on the order of the programming, this thing, like Tommy said, we could put this in a Yahtzee shaker. And
you guys convinced me. I need a swap.
All right. Okay. There
we go.
We're all buying it.
We are unanimous. Okay. Next one. Let's go. This one might seem pretty obvious, but I'm just throwing it out there because, as I said earlier, when we think we have it figured out, something weird happens. Buy or sell, Tia and Laura will be the top 2 women this year. They could be, doesn't matter what order, but they will be 1 and 2. Katrin, we'll start with you.
Sell.
Whoa!
I just think so. I think there are so many. So somebody, like a couple of girls that have been looking so good to me this year is like Gabby. Gabby looks really good. She looks very like, I mean, she has like a lot of like similar strengths that I've had in the past of like very good with like endurance and running. There's like 2 running events. She has like a grind to her. She has a new confidence to her, and she has similar holes as I have. It's like any kind of like upper body pulling, whether it was leg less, muscle ups, gymnastics, bit of strength. And she looks really strong to me. She looks good at gymnastics. Another one is Alex Gazan. Like, she is the opposite to whatever I've ever been. She's so good at like upper body pulling, all gymnastics. She's looking really, did she like clean 285? I'm like, that is insane. And then she has Hinshaw, and Hinshaw's always been an insane weapon for me. And you can see that with like, I don't think when I started CrossFit, I wasn't good at running. I wasn't good at endurance. I didn't have any of that. And I think the mix of having like Ben and then Hinshaw, and Hinshaw's also really good at giving you strategies and confidence. And like, he will tell you what you can do before you can do it. And so I think that is a dangerous mix for her. And so I'm actually like, ooh, I think she actually could be very dangerous. And then there's somebody like Emma Lawson. Like, I think she has been looking so good. She has such a good head on her shoulders. And I hope it for her. I know she's been a little bit open about it's been a harder year for her, but I really like, I think that's maybe a little bit personal, but I like just, I'm a big, like, I'm a fan, and I just, but I do not, I think I'd be excited to see what the competition is there, but
Man.
oh,
Okay, Tommy, you're up next.
That might be the spiciest response we get. I love it. I'm buying. I don't know. I think there's like seeing, and this is purely off of what I watched take place at the Rogue Invitational on the last event, when it was basically a tie, and they looked at each other, and it was like, it's you, it's me, and then there's everybody else, and nobody else exists. Maybe there's something just poetic and romantic about that concept, but to me, it was like they had another gear that just separated themselves from everybody else in the field. And I think we're going to get that across 12 events instead of one, because during Rogue, it was like, oh, how's Tia going to feel? And there was even uncertainty in herself. Like when she was even when she was pulling the heavy deadlift without the belt, it's like you could see that there was still physical changes from pregnancy that she was working through. And now I think this is just the culmination of a years long conversation of Laura winning without Tia being back, but maybe very soon after a pregnancy and losing for the first time in live competition. And I think it's just going to be two athletes like at their best, locked horns the entire time, and that's going to be the top two.
All right, Lauren.
You know, I really like what Katrin was saying about Gabby and Emma and Alex. But to me, between the three of them specifically, it really is a fight for third. So I'm going to also buy this. I think it's going to be a dogfight between Tia and Laura, and then everybody else is going to be after them. So
yeah,
buy-in, baby.
I have to hand it to you, Katrin. You're doing a very good job of making me set myself here. But as much as I love the fact that we are usually wrong about predictions and things like that, and there's a lot of chaos, I am relatively certain that, like Tommy said, Tia and Laura are in a class all by themselves. Pat Sherwood one time said this about Rich Froning. He's like, I'm not out here working out with you guys. You guys are out here working out with me. And I think that's going to be the case with Tia and Laura. And I cannot wait to see that battle.
It'll be exciting to watch. That's for sure.
I am absolutely buying this one. And we're going to talk about the margin of victory later, but Tia has had this thing wrapped up, I think, going into the final event every year since 2018, I think.
17?
17,
yeah.
maybe. Well, I think the first year,
no, 2017 was the close margin.
Yeah, and then 2018, I think she started, and I don't know if maybe there will be some doubt going into the final event. I hope so, because it makes it more exciting for everybody. But yeah, I'm going to buy this one. Okay, back to the men's side. Tommy, we're going to kick off with you on this one.
Oh, okay.
More likely to happen: a repeat winner for the men, or a first-time winner? So this is not a buy or sell. This is more likely to happen: repeat winner, first-time winner.
So this actually has been the hardest one for me, trying to parse it out. So realistically, on the men's side, if we're going to have a repeat winner, that means Adler or Medeiros.
Yep.
Only two that have won it before. So am I placing my chips in Adler and Medeiros versus realistically the other 5 men, Dallin, Roman, Ricky, Brent, Pat?
I think this is this is a tough one.
You know what? There are times, Sean, when you just you know me as a gambling man, when you go up to the roulette table and something tells you to put your chip on green,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the odds are against you, and maybe even
Is green an option? Isn't it black and red?
black and red, and then you have 2 green chips, 0 and 00.
Okay. Thank you.
That's why it's never 50-50 odds. Sorry, not to get too far into that, but I think repeat winner for me.
All right.
I think the ones that make me the most nervous are Ricky coming off an injury and him just seeing how fired up he is,
Mm-hmm.
and Roman coming off the injury and coming up short a couple years in a row. But outside of that, I think Justin, motivated by the down year the year before and how he looked at West Coast in terms of finding that sweet spot for him in the 3rd to 4th event finish range and leveraging that for a win. And then just everything that Adler has done since he's finally ascended on that next level. To me, I'm like, I'll put chips behind the guys that have figured out how to win.
Yeah. Okay. Lauren.
Yeah, it's going to be a toss of a coin because, as Tommy said, all of those other guys absolutely have a chance to win this if the hand plays, or if the cards play in their hand's favor. But I still do think there's going to be a repeat winner, either Jeff or Justin, because they have done it before. They know what it takes to do that. They know what they need to do if they have a less than optimal event finish, get their mindset right, and then go out and just take the cake. So I'm going to put my marbles on the repeat winner.
Okay. Katrin, you know what this is like to try to go in and win another.
So one thing I want to say, it's actually harder to win again than it is to win the first time.
Really?
Yeah. Because you have everything to lose when you're trying to do it again. Or that was my feeling.
Fair.
You know, and there's like this so the position Justin is in, there's almost as if last year he had everything to lose and I think he wasn't able to compete well. And now he has resentment for that. And it's a little bit of like, all right, F it, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a dangerous state to be in. My answer to this question, though, does very quickly want to be repeat. And I'm thinking about Jeff Adler. I think he's been looking phenomenal. I just think he has very much like filled into every hole. And the same I was saying about Alex Gazan. Like he now also has Hinshaw and he now has extreme fitness mixed with his extreme strength, great skills. Like he has made it really hard for others to beat him. Like he really has. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, okay, Roman didn't get to finish. Like it was a really good competition. Like what if he hadn't gotten injured? Like how good would it have been? Like, and that's my question of like, oh, like would it actually have been a lot tighter? But if I had to bet on something, I still do think it's harder to win for a second time than it is for the first, or, you know, the higher up you go in the line. But for some reason, it's Jeff that's making me want to say that there's going to be a repeat winner.
Okay. I think we're going to be unanimous on this. I am going repeat winner as well, because I think it is going to come down to, mostly the same people that did last year. Adler, Krennikov, and I think put Medeiros in the mix. And the reason I'm putting Medeiros very much in the mix is because if you watched him at the West Coast Classic, that was a very Justin Medeiros type performance. He didn't win anything, but he did not look bad in anything. And he was, top 5, I think, every single time, super consistent. And that was his MO, those first 2 championships. He has won, in those first 2 years, he won the fewest amount of events of any repeat champion in history. He won 1 games event, and I think it was hat trick. Yeah. And that was it. And every other 2 years that he won, it was just super consistent. I think he will be back in the mix. I would love to see a first-time winner just because I like that because I'm such a fan of all these guys, and I want to spread the wealth. But I do think it is more likely that we're going to have a repeat winner. Okay, next one, and we will start with you, Lauren. This is buy or sell. We've mentioned this woman a couple times already, but buy or sell, Alex Gazan will be the top finishing American woman.
I'm going to buy this, and it's
Okay.
not to discredit Ariel Lowen and everything that she has done and is still doing. I think she is absolutely in the conversation. But if I were to put them both on the floor against each other, I feel like there's just a little bit more edge with Alex and her training and what I see in her facial expressions and body language when she's out on the floor. I mean, if you talk to Justin Kotler, he's always going to pump up his athletes and he really can get you to cheer for them as
He
he's
might be the
saying it.
greatest
And,
hype man.
Oh, he's the
oh my God. Yeah. Like,
Oh.
if I ever had to do something incredible, I would want him right there yelling and screaming my name and having me get after it. So I really see this being Alex's year, that anybody who, I don't even necessarily want to say doubting her fitness, but people who maybe haven't been paying attention and seeing the strides that she's made year after year, this is the year that she's in the conversation, not just on the last day, but every single day for one reason or another in the competition.
Okay. Katrin.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna buy. I just based on everything that I've already been saying, I think she's been looking really good. I think she's really been like filling in all of her holes, and she had so many like incredible strength. Like she almost has like not almost, she does have like a male upper body strength. Like any kind of her pulling, her leg lifts, her muscle ups. Like she is very much, I wouldn't say a league of her own because T is very much the same, but when it comes to any of those things, like she's so far ahead. She has such great strength. Like she does need to work on her snatch, but I think that's the only like strength that maybe is a little bit behind, like her deadlift, her clean, her front squat, her like all of it is
Bench
so
press.
great. Yes. And then to add in endurance and just like her fitness, I feel like is becoming up so much, and I think that's dangerous. So buy that.
Tommy.
Okay, so you guys kind of flipped me on this, and part of it started with Katrin talking about the impact of Hinshaw at the games, and I think that is extremely paramount given some of the stuff that's already been announced. But even looking at what holds Alex back, you go back to a semifinal. She was the snatch ladder event away from winning that semifinal, where she gave up a ton of points. I don't know if we're going to see that snatch event, like a heavy snatch event.
That's gone, and now
It's
they
gone.
clean.
And that's like her big hole, right? Is the overhead stuff. And the with the clean ladder and how strong she is there, it's like this could line up for her to be in the mix. I think I think about the whatever twists we're going to have on Chad and how that's going to work, and some of those events where I think she's just going to be able to put her head down and suffer. Even with the field sprint, and she's a lacrosse player growing up, a fellow lacrosse player. So I think there are some components that we're seeing so far that could play pretty well for her. I originally had this as a sell. I'm going to switch to buy. I'm going to buy it now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess it's down to me. I'm going to sell this because I think
Let's hear it.
Look, Ariel Lowen and Alexis Raptis, don't discount either one of them.
That was a tough one. Yeah.
And I think Ariel Lowen is going to get a little bit of that home cooking. It's her home state. She's used to the climate there. She's doesn't have to travel too far. And I just think competition is the maturity and the experience that Ariel Lowen has. And I just think the way that she just keeps a level head throughout is going to serve her well at this competition. I think it's going to be close. I think Raptis, Gazan, and Lowen will all be in the mix for a spot in the top 5, if not a spot on the podium. I don't think Ariel's going down without a fight. I'm selling this, so I will lone wolf it on that one.
She's bringing Dylan to help with the big guns too.
Yes, that's right. Okay, we're getting into our final couple here. We got 4 left. Pat Vellner is a guy that everyone's saying, man, if he can just get through that first event, he's going to have a chance. So we're gonna buy or sell. And Katrin, we'll start with you on this one. Pat Vellner will finish 15th or better in the first event.
Sorry, Pat. I would put zero cents on it. Like, I'm like, please finish in the top 30. Like, come on. It's not, it just never is for him. Like, you can't, I hope, like, Pat, please prove me wrong on this. But he has, there's nothing that I can base it on to put it in that.
Yeah. It's tough. History is not on his side.
He will climb his way up. That's for sure. I know he will. He will be in the mix, but I'm the same way. I don't start out well, and that's okay. And there's something to the fight of coming back. It's kind of fun. So.
Okay. Tommy.
Man, yeah, I'm lockstep with Katrin here. I'm like, come on, Pat. I hope that me selling this will motivate him, but I think what gets lost in these mixed events like the run swim is that Pat is actually a very good runner.
Yes.
He's a lot better runner than most people think, but something happens in the water there where it just doesn't translate. And given what's been announced so far, I think that this run swim event could be, my inkling is that it's going to be more swim heavy, right? Than it will be run. So that's leaning into something that isn't as good of a skill for him. And I just think that even if he puts in a lot of work, there's just a lot of really good natural swimmers in this cohort for the men that can, chip away and hop in there that will knock him outside of the top 15. And realistically, I think 20th or better is still a win for him. So he can be outside this top 15 and still have a pretty decent overall setup, given that he's typically going 34th, 31st, 30th, like in these events.
Lauren.
You know what, guys? I feel like Pat already had his goose egg this season. I am going to buy this. He was sick leading up to semifinals. I think it was like the day before was the first day that he had a full meal after like not being able to eat for a week. And he recently moved, so he's getting all of those stressors and everything out of the way that I believe he's taken advantage of the summertime to basically never be out of the water. And this is the year that he's going to shut everybody up. I'm not going to say he's going to finish a top 10 or maybe not even higher than 14th in event one, but maybe higher than 15th. So I'm going to buy this for him this year.
Okay. And I'm right there with you. I'm buying this as well. And I don't know. I feel like Krusty the Clown when he bet on the Washington Generals.
Man.
I thought the Generals were due. Like, I think Pat is due. Like, I think he's due. This is it. All right. Come on now. We're different location.
Come on.
Clean slate. We're going to Texas. It's to get rid of all the ghosts of CrossFit Games past. This is Pat Vellner's time to shine. He's going to go out there with that SPF 150, and he's just going to I don't know what it's going to do. It's going to aerodynamically help him through the water, and lo and behold, he's going to wind up somewhere inside the top 15, and there will be much celebrating throughout the country of Canada. So I'm saying Vellner's due. He's going to finish better than 15th, and it's going to set us up for even more excitement as the competition goes on.
Go Pat.
Yes. All right, next one. We're going to start with Tommy now on this. Actually, no, we're going to start with Lauren, I think, on this one.
Okay.
Buy or sell. Haley Adams will finish inside the top 5. Lauren.
Oh, why do I got to start this round? Come on now. Okay. I'm going to sell it. She had such an amazing semifinals performance. And even after talking with her opening up about not having that pressure that she has in past years and just finding her happiness and looking up in the crowd and seeing friends and family and her new coaches and the whole environment just really set her up for just going out there and doing what she loves. I definitely think that it is possible, but similar to the men where you can interchange 5 names up at the top, I think the same can be said when we're talking about like that 3 through 10 for women. I won't be surprised at all to see her in the top 5, but I also wouldn't be surprised not to. I definitely can guarantee she's going to be in the top 10, but for this one, I'm going to sell because I just think Katrin's mentioned them a lot. We have Alex Gazan, we have Emma Lawson, Ariel Lowen, Tia Claire Toomey, Laura Horvath, Gabby McGowan. It's so hard because there's so many women in the mix that I'm sorry, I'm selling.
Okay, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm selling too. You look at how quickly the sport progresses when someone takes a year off, for whatever reason, and the new hosts of athletes that come in and have an opportunity to start to develop. I keep that in mind with the difference between a great example, Alex Gazan when Haley was there last versus where she is now. When Haley was last at the games, Alex Gazan was 24th, right? And that's someone that even in your competitive purview is not even there, right? If you're hunting for the top 10 all weekend, someone who's in 24th, you're rarely in this, you might not even be in the same heat. And then suddenly this athlete, you come back and they're like fighting for a podium spot. That development happens quickly, especially with some of the young athletes. I think Haley is still going to be able to be in the mix for the top 5. I think, especially some of the early events like the run swim is going to be good for her. I think she's a sleeper pick to win Chad because across her
I would
history,
agree with that.
the put your head down, turn your brain off, and go for a long period of time is something that she does typically well. If you remember, there's a famous story of her hopping in and wanting to do the marathon row when she first got introduced, I think, to Ridget Mayhem, and just like that instinct to do that. I think she has that dark place switch for that time domain. But I do think as the weekend wears on, what we do see is that as heavy barbells and heavy loads get rolled out towards the back end of the weekend and you're sore, you're tired, and your technique has to be put under the microscope, that's where we start to see some issues. Great example of that, I think the back 9 event a couple of years ago at the games, where some of those weights stopped her in her tracks. I think while she will be better at that, I think in the time spent, there's a few athletes that have kind of slipped into that top 5 range. I have her like 7th to 8th realistically overall, which is a phenomenal comeback year, I think. But I think top 5 might be another year of development away.
All right. Katrin.
All right, I agree. I am going to sell at one. I don't think she's going to be in the top 5. And honestly, I don't think that's her goal. Like, just looking at her, she looks so happy. She looks so healthy. She wants to find her fire in the sport again, her joy in the sport again, and just really love what she's doing. And I think she was so good at the sport at such a young age. And it's heartbreaking to now know how she was feeling in the sport and now to come back on her own terms with a new team. And she just she looks like she's shining. And my guess is that her whole goal, and I can very much relate to this, is just to find that enjoyment in it. And whatever placement that looks like, I've taken 7th and I've fist pumped. I've just been so proud of myself, not because I wanted a 7th place, but because there was an internal goal that I wanted to know how hard I had worked all year, that I was back, that I had enjoyed it and actually found my fire out on the floor again. And I can see that in her. I agree that I think she struggles with barbell cycling. She struggles with the heavy weights. I think she's going to have her moments. She's going to be in the race to win Chad, to win the mile, to win the run swim. She is going to be in it. I just also think she's going to have events that she's going to struggle. So if this was put her in the top 10, I'd buy. But for the top 5, I'm going to sell. But I do think we're going to see a shining Haley Adams.
Yes, and I will agree with all of you. I'm going to sell this one as well. And I'm glad, Katrin, that you brought that up about how I don't know if that's her goal, because I don't know if it is. I think she would be. I think she just wants to have a good competition, get through it, and I guess reconfirm or reaffirm, I guess would be the right word, the joy that she has in competing and the love that she has for the sport. And I think if that happens, that's a big win for her. Now, I do think she will be in contention for the top 10, and I do think she will have some pretty incredible moments at the competition. And I agree with Tommy. I was going to bring that up too. I think that Haley Adams has just to think about at Atlanta a few years ago at the ranch when her hands were just, and
she's so gritty. I love that about her.
Nope, I don't care. I'm just going to keep going. I mean, I would have been in a corner balled up and she's out there running through this event. And I think that's an event where she will be in the mix to win it, and she will have some cool moments, and it'll be great to see her back out on the competition floor. But I don't think top 5, just given how deep that women's field is, both the women's and the men's field. All right, final 2 now. back to Tommy for this one. Buy or sell, both Jeff Adler and Justin Medeiros will finish on the podium.
God, this is a good one. This is such a good one too.
Yeah.
I've also waffled it, but I'm going to go with my instinct on this one and sell.
Okay.
And
Oh,
primarily because I think there are so many things that can happen within the week of the CrossFit Games that are hidden trials and tribulations. Whether that's you tweak something here and you're like, you know what, putting it back in mind, and I'm not going to worry about getting a diagnosis on whatever that is. You know, we found out one year that Matt Fraser did the entire games with like a torn LCL or MCL or whatever he did on day one. But that extends to many people, whether it's food related illnesses, whether it's you take a spill on your bike and it affects how you compete. I think that even the top athletes in the sport are not immune to this, and I think somewhere along the line that happens. And for some reason, my gut tells me that might happen somewhere. And if I'm going to play against the odds with a repeat champion, I'm going to play with the odds that maybe one of them misses the podium.
Okay. Lauren.
oh, I'm gonna buy this one, and with most
right.
of my money.
Okay.
I mean, what can I say? I would be more surprised not to see both of them on the podium than I would be the opposite. I can't even remember what I said. I think I just blacked out, but that's okay. This game is very stressful.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I know that we keep talking about how competitive the men's field is, and yeah, you could switch up a bunch of them, but my gut feeling just tells me that both of them will be on the podium. Who is going to be in which box of that podium? I cannot tell you that, but I know that both of them will be in some shape or form on it.
Okay. So you're buying that.
I'm buying it.
These are so good. That's a good question because that's like
It is.
the ones you can honestly see both outcomes are the ones who are like, oh, they're the worst.
Katrin.
So I'm the same. I can see both outcomes. Like I can very much I think it's a possibility that both are on the podium, and I think it's more likely than not than that only one of them is on the podium. So I would sell that one. So that would be my final answer. But I just think I think the race is going to be tight. I do think it is going to be a phenomenal on both sides, honestly, but a phenomenal men's competition. And so then when I think about who could possibly be in those spots, I'm like, the same. It's just a gut feeling. And just like, if I had to put my own money on this, it's just one of those things that I'd be like, I would, just to be safe, I would sell.
Okay.
But both options are possible.
All right. I guess we're going to be 50-50 on this one. I've gone back and forth on this one, but my gut tells me to buy it. And I don't know if it's going to be first and third, first and second and third, but I think they will both be up there. And it's just the consistency that the two of them have shown, specifically Justin. I was super impressed with how he looked at the West Coast Classic. Adler is Adler. I think that he has one of the best coaches in the game. I don't think Carolyn Lambert gets enough credit for what a great job she's done with him. And I just don't see either one of them having a really bad finish. We were talking about this a little bit on Death by It, and I can't remember who said it, but usually you can overcome like a 30th, a 35th. You can do that. I think that's going to be detrimental in this field. That's you finish there, podium is going to be out of reach. And I don't see neither Jeff nor Justin having that real just terrible miscue. So
yeah,
it's probably more likely than not that they're both up there. So I'm going to buy this one.
Yeah, if I could jump in on one quick thing is like what we've seen historically on the men's side. There are years where there's like an 80 to 70 point gap between third and fourth, but more often than not, we get Pat and Brent 2 points apart. We get Brent and Lucas Hogberg tiebreaker in 2018. We get 20 points separating them in 2020. You know, we get 25 points a couple of years ago. And to me, that's one event, and that's not even a bad event finish, right? Like 20 points is 25 points is was it a 13th place finish and a 2nd place finish or something along like that. Like where you're like, oh yeah, I still did decent, and someone just knocked it out of the park. And that level of volatility, it just at some point, I'm gonna have to bank on that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Final one here. Back to the women. So we'll start with Katrin on this one.
Okay.
Buy or sell. The final margin between the top 2 women will be the smallest it has been since 2017. And I believe that was only 2 points when Tia won her first.
2 points.
Yeah. So smallest.
Is this a question? It's not going to be a tie.
No. Oh, so okay. So this is a better. So
Okay.
Sean, I will say this to clarify this: the close outside of that. So ignoring 2017, I think one of the tightest margin has been what 47 points. I think.
Yeah. So it's not going to be 2, but it's not whatever the next one is. It's not going to be. It's going to be less than that.
I'm gonna help you all out with some gambling stuff. We should not buy this one. Okay. Okay, I get the question now. What is the second closest?
47 points.
What year was that?
Last year.
Ooh.
That was the gap between Laura and Emma Lawson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd buy that one. I think it's going to be a good competition. I think, okay, here's the deal. I think I really want it to be a good competition. It's not fun when somebody runs away with it. You got it in the bank. It's probably really fun for the person in first place when they get to like they get to go stress.
Done.
Yeah, go stress. I will say, like at Atlanta, I was locked into second place in 2020. And I didn't have to go and I remember on that last final, so take Murph and what was it, the second Murph that we did, I was chasing down Carrie Pierce. It's the closest I've ever been to losing control of holding all bodily fluids in my body. I was trying so hard.
It's amazing.
I didn't have to go that hard. It was the last one. And I actually remember just kind of being I was so thankful for the year. I was in second place. You're just kind of taking it all in. And so again, a long story longer, to really nice for that person to be able to look in and just take in not only that whole weekend, but the whole year, be proud of yourself. And you're yes, okay, you're coming out with a gold medal, but I want to see it. It's also really fun to go in a pressure-filled situation where it's going to be yourself or you're somebody else, and you have to rise to that occasion. I would say that beats it all, and I want that for them. I want that for us that are watching. So I am going to. Was I selling that one? I'm going to say it's going to be I want to take
You're buying it.
You're buying it.
It is going to be closer than 47 points. All right, I like that, Tommy.
Oof. I really I want to buy this with Katrin, but ultimately I'm going to sell it because I think
interesting.
We talk about in the sport, we talk about that killer instinct, right? That ability to know when you have that advantage and leverage that advantage heavily to just even sometimes send a message. I think if either Tia or Laura gets an advantage like that, and they have a chance to send a message, I think they are going to, particularly with the narrative that has been spun the last couple of years. If Tia does it, for her, it's going to be no, I'm back. Queen's back. Mama's back. This is what's up. If it's Laura, it's been Rogue wasn't a fluke. It's my, you're in my world now, Granny. And really that, I think that message would resonate, for years to come. And so I think given what I have seen from them as competitors and athletes, that alone might drive them to maybe do a little extra on some of these events once they have an advantage to just pad a little bit. So that's where I'm leaning.
Lauren.
So you sold this?
You selling it, yeah.
See, for those reasons, I'm going to buy it. I feel like Laura and Tia both want it so bad, and they're both fierce competitors. Laura wants to prove to everybody when Tia is there and 100% that she can take her down. And Tia wants to prove that it don't matter who's here. I'm going to take everybody down. So the fact that both of them want to take the world down and prove that they have created this empire of fitness where nobody else is going to play, it's going to be a not necessarily even like a back and forth, but that those points, it's going to matter. And maybe this is my heart speaking like Katrin, but I want to see it come down to the final event, and it matters. And we got to go to the people who are good at math up in the booth, all of the stat people. It's not me. I know Sean can agree with that we are not the ones that come up with the numbers, but somebody is going to be there with their calculator trying to figure out the numbers, and everybody's going to be sitting on the edge of their seat. And that is what I'm putting into the universe, because when you put something in the universe, I feel like it's going to happen. So I'm buying this.
Okay.
Going to the people that are good with math. I just pictured Chad and Barkley just sweating, like nervous, like hands shaking. They can't even.
Barkley's defense.
Let me get my paper.
Spreadsheets, and he's
I
just
love
like
them.
puts the numbers in, and I look at it, and go, "You sure?" He goes, "Yeah," and then I trust him. And I'm like pencil and paper over here trying to add things up, and I'm sweating bullets. I'm sorry that I don't know. I wish that I had that optimism that you do. I am selling this. I don't think there's any way it's closer than 47 points.
Glass half full, Sean. Glass half full.
Call me just old and cynical, I guess, but Tia to me is in a different league than everybody else. I think Laura will keep it interesting at times. I don't think it's going to be one of those cases where it's like an absolute cakewalk the final day for Tia. She's going to have to battle, but I 47 points. I think it's going to be more than that. But I hope I am wrong, because like everyone else here, I want to see that happen in the final event, because when we have had those moments, and I know Katrin, you have lived through those moments.
I've been in them.
It's like, I can't imagine how nerve-wracking it is for you, from a commentator standpoint or a fan standpoint. Like, it is like, it's crazy. So that's the kind of stuff that people talk about for years, and I hope we have that. I hope we have that again. I hope I am wrong, but I don't think I am. So there you go.
One way to find out.
That's right. Well,
again. Wait,
yeah.
So are we gonna get like a results from this? Are you gonna like pull this together?
I'll have to tabulate some things, and then maybe we'll do a little posting to see how.
We'll revisit it once we have the answers.
That's right.
Yeah.
To see who scored the best. I like
yes. it. Katrin, one thing I did want to ask you before we go is, and I asked this to Andrea as well, is like, what's one thing that people overlook when it comes to being successful at the CrossFit Games?
I think it's just kind of knowing that it's not all going to go your way. Mm-hmm. And it might even not be looking like it's going your way. So when you were talking about the lead changes in 2014, I didn't make the games in 2014. And before the 2015 games, this was like literally just a couple weeks before, I watched the 2014 games. And I remember seeing, it was like, and then knowing the results, like I knew who was on the podium, I knew who had won. And looking at the results, this was like heading into Saturday, which is like, now we call it, at least in my, I'm always like, that's moving day. Like things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. And nobody that finished on the podium was even in the top 5. And so I always had that in my head, that even I could take a 38th, I could take a 39th my first day. I could not even be in the whatever you're in, but I always like, it's not over until it's over. And I always held on to that so tight. I'm there to fight. I will fight until the very last event. And so even if it might not look like you're going to win, even if it might not look like you're going to be on the podium, there is always, you never know what's going to happen. You never know how well you might perform. You never know if somebody else is going to have an off event. You never know what is going to happen. I think that's a powerful thing to have in your head. It's just, no, it's not over till it's over, and you fight with everything you have until the last event, and things can actually pan out your way if you do that. And at least, worst case, it'll leave you proud.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's leave it on that, because I do not want to say anything to mess that up.
Oh man,
thank you so much for taking
this. Was so fun.
Yeah,
well,
you're welcome anytime. So anytime, please say hi to Brooks for us. We're all big fans. Looking forward to seeing him again soon. Hope everything's great with the family, and really hope everything goes well with the recovery. And selfishly, I hope we get to see you compete again, because it's always a pleasure to watch you on the competition floor.
My favorite thing in the world to do. I hope so too. Guys, thank you so much. This is really so good to see you guys.
Good seeing you.
Yeah,
Take
thanks,
care.
Katrin.
Thank you. what an absolute boss Katrin Davidsdottir is.
She was so good.
She was awesome. She should do that more.
Yeah.
Get Katrin on some major broadcasts. That'd be good.
She's got that. It's like the right mix of bubbly personality, you know, but also like can really tap into that athlete experience from. Like she is, you know, she's lived the heights of the sport.
She gets it, man. Okay, we're going to get into our community support, and then we'll do some quick PRs and no reps. But once again, I just want to remind you guys about our presenting sponsor for today. That is Box Basics. Check them out. Shopboxbasics.com. Use the code TEF. You're going to get 20% off and just some first-class customer service in the process. Community support, Tommy.
One quick note: you can scan the QR code. I think by the time you see this, there might be a little bit of a pre-sale going on for the OG Metcon ones.
Oh, yes, which I may or may not already have in my possession, courtesy of Box Basics.
May or may
I'm
not.
not going to confirm nor deny that.
But definitely go check it out because they do special drops and releases every week. So, but yeah, community support. This one comes to our good pal Robbie Sherwood, a longtime supporter of the show. He just finished a 100-mile ruck. So it is a 4-day. It's a 4-day, 25 miles a day ruck, camping out each night on the farm of a local brewery and continuing the march at sunrise each morning. Athletes carry everything they need for this 4-day event on their backs, navigate the 100-mile course, cook their own meals, set up and break down their camps each night, tend to their feet and bodies, all in an attempt to earn the coveted 100-mile ruck march finisher medal. Why did they do this, you might ask? That's a fair question, right? Well, they're raising money and 100% of the proceeds go to Why Me and Sherry's House, a grassroots nonprofit organization dedicated to providing love and support services to families with childhood cancer. It's run in part by parents that lived this experience firsthand. The dedicated staff and volunteers understand what families with a pediatric cancer patient need and are passionate about the services provided. Checked in with Robbie. He finished it, got that 100-mile. And you can go, so if you want to donate, you can go to, I believe the website is, I guess you can just go to whyme.org.
Yep. That's on the screen right now.
Yep, you can go there. And if you want to click through, there's peer-to-peer fundraising, and you can, under peer-to-peer fundraising, there's a 100-mile ruck march, and there's one listed for Robbie Sherwood as well for his 100-mile ruck march. Robbie finished this, and he also told me, this is a fun little anecdote too, a little synergy, if you will. He showed me his strains from each of the day. He maxed out his strain, like the max you could possibly do on loop.
Wow.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that was possible.
But his recovery was in the green each day because he was taking Thirdy at night.
There you go.
Wow,
sleeping
that's
like a champ.
awesome. Yeah, full circle there.
Yeah, so it was great. And so again, go to whyme.org to learn more, to support that. And you can support anyone else maybe doing the 100-mile ruck march, but it's for a good cause. And awesome work by Robbie.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Robbie. Good job. PRs and no reps. I have not thought about this at all.
Ooh, I know. You're putting me on the spot.
I got a quick PR. I got a quick no rep, sorry, since we always end positive. I'm going to no rep Michaela Skinner, former medalist for the USA Gymnastics. I don't know if you heard this, but I think she was on an interview or podcast. Yeah. And she was basically kind of lamenting, like, is it me or like this, basically this USA Gymnastics women's team, like not as talented or hardworking as, like, said some pretty harsh criticisms of this team that was about to take the floor. And Simone Biles clapped back, rightfully so.
Yeah, she should.
Because when
I love it.
Because when they won, she was like, lazy, untalented, so-and-so Olympic champions. And it was like, drop the hammer on the back end. So come on, Michaela. You're a gymnast. You got to support your team. You were teammates with some of these women. And got to know
that's
better.
Not a good look.
No rep.
All right. You got a no rep or PR? I think we just have a continuing no rep of dating apps from Lauren. So we'll just like put that in the constantly being no rep. If you follow Lauren on social media, you know why.
If you want to hear dating horror stories, come follow me on Instagram. I tell them regularly.
You should just have your own Instagram account dedicated to that. So I'll no rep that.
Dating with Lauren.
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
I thought I had
Called
one.
Lauren swipes left.
Yeah. Do you have any PRs, no reps you want to get to? Or should we just tell the people about what we're going on next week?
I got
Yeah,
two PRs.
I just want a PR that, it's games time. Let's focus on the incredible athletes that we're about to cover.
Yeah.
There are going to be some really, really good storylines, and let's lead from the front and let's show people why we love this sport and why we keep doing this as a career.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like that. Tommy.
My PRs relate to the Olympics. I'm just going to PR the Paris Olympics because the medals. Have you seen the medals?
I haven't. I haven't watched every Olympic coverage.
Eiffel Tower in it.
Has a little piece of the original Eiffel Tower in it.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it's super, super cool. And then rugby sevens. They were one of the first
bronze.
Yeah, one of the first events ever. But on the men's side, the French, the host country, they won the gold, beating Fiji. Fiji was undefeated in Olympic play. They had never lost an Olympic match. They won the gold both times it's been contested. And in the gold medal match, the French upset them in dramatic fashion. It was super cool to watch. And then the USA team went on a buzzer beater. Spiff Cedric gets the pill. She truck sticks this woman and takes it to the house like 80 yards. So imagine it's the last play of the game, basically, and you've got an option play that you've pitched out, to put it in football terms, and your running back is dead to rights, truck sticks this person, takes it to the house, and then you kick the extra point for the win to win a medal.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, I just have not watched any, not for any reason. I just haven't had the time to watch it. But I'm more of a Winter Olympics guy anyway. Just because of the hockey and the stuff like luge and skeleton. Like, you give me some guy going 70 miles an hour head first down a giant hill in a I-10.
Yeah, my buddy Chris. Shout out my buddy Chris Mazur.
Yeah, Marston used to be a luger. Little known fact about Marston Sawyers from the Buttery Bros. Okay, next week is going to be obviously really busy for us. Lauren and Tommy are going to be on site in Texas. We're going to be covering some cool athlete experience stuff with Tier. And then we're also going to be doing our regular coverage of the event, athlete interviews. We'll have highlights that we'll post on Instagram. We'll have daily podcast recaps. I'm working on doing like a little bit of a highlight show in case like you don't watch it. Hey, here's everything that happened, and may or may not have Katrin Davidsdottir involved in that. We're going to effort that. But we'll have a full week of stuff. So you can be sure you're following us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get alerts whenever we put new stuff out. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. And as Lauren said, if you're going to be on site there, have a great time. Lead from the front. Show everybody why this community is so great, especially in that Friday Night Lights event. If there's new people there who have never been to a CrossFit event, say hi to them, introduce yourself, tell them why this stuff is so great. Do what we do. Be welcoming. And let's celebrate the fact that we get to watch this. And I'm just going to give a shout out to, the crew that's going to be on site broadcasting. They're going to do a phenomenal job. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. People are going to realize, they're going to figure out just how good Chase Ingram is. Like, he's going to do a fantastic job, and can't wait to see him showcase his skills on national TV. So going to be a fun week. And then look, after that, we got so much cool stuff. We got Wadapalooza SoCal. We got Rogue. We got there's all legends. All kinds of good stuff is coming up. So this is not the end. This is like the beginning of the finale.
Tip of the iceberg.
It'd be great. Thanks again to Katrin Davidsdottir for joining us. Thanks again to Box Basics and Box Basics and Thirdy for being our sponsors for today. Thirdy.com. Use the code TEF, and then shopboxbasics.com. Same code TEF. You'll save 20% there. For Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better, and we will talk to you guys next week from Fort Worth, Texas, and the 2024 CrossFit Games.